Hey guys, so for our writing today, still remember yesterday we talked a little bit about our fairy tales, adapting a fairy tale. Okay, so I know some of you have already gotten started and you've shared a Google Doc with me. If you are choosing to use a journal, make sure we're keeping up with our notes. Okay, because I don't want you guys to be losing those and say, oh, I can't find it now, Mr. Sims. So let's make sure we're keeping up with our work. I don't want you to lose your hard work. So yesterday we kind of talked about when writers, you guys, when you're going to adapt a fairy tale, um, what do they change on it? And more importantly, why do they change? Why do they make those changes? And we talked about some big changes they tend to make. They can change the characters, or or they can change the events. Okay, and so as you're doing those things, make sure you're looking over your notes and think to yourself about why the author, you guys, made those adaptations. Why did you make those? Okay, we talked about how you guys change, and I made that some notes in the ways authors adapt fairy tales. We talked about maybe changing a character from a boy, girl to a boy, adding or from a fancy godmother to a less fancy one, and even changing the events. I added that, changing the events from maybe something old fashioned to maybe something modern. So again, if we look at our Goldilocks book, okay, that's the Goldilocks that we've come to love and know, and we know that story. Then we can even change the book to something maybe making it a bit more modern. Okay, so the Goldilocks and the Three Bears, what do they eat? They eat porridge, right? Like I told you, porridge was something more like oatmeal or like some of the hot cereals and things like that. All right. So in this next one that I kind of showed you, you can see where they changed it to, instead of porridge. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So let me get back to my Goldilocks. Sorry about that. There we go. Goldilocks. Sorry about that. So we talked a little bit about how this got changed to Brownie Locks. So remember, Goldilocks was the girl. Now it's talking it or taking it from the bear's point of view. And cornflakes. Who has eaten cornflakes? Who knows what cornflakes is? Most people have. It's a more modern breakfast cereal. So not only did they changed a couple of things in this one. They changed the characters, right? We talked about that. How they can change the characters from not just a girl to a boy, they changed it from a girl to a bear. So that's different. Then they changed it from, instead of porridge, like a hot cereal, to like what a lot of people eat today, like cornflakes. Or you could think of Rice Krispies or something along those lines. So more of a cold cereal where you're putting milk in. So you can see that they changed it, but they kept the where the bear or Goldilocks sits in the chairs, and they break them, and then they go find the bed, and they come back and they say, "Oh, somebody's been in our house," and you can see that there's footprints and those things. So this one was a little different, where they changed it the bear from the Goldilocks to the bear, and then from the porridge to the cornflakes. Okay, so that was a little different, and then it looks like it goes back to where there's a little bit more dialogue than what was in the other one. You can also change it, the fairy tale, to maybe even this one that I found. Um, um, this is bears should share. So this is a point. So this is from a different point of view. This is from Goldilocks' point of view, where the other one, The one that we all come to know, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, let me go back to that. This one talks about, why did it do that again? Hold on, sorry. This one talks about it maybe from the Three Bears point of view. So this one talks a little bit different. This one goes from Goldilocks and the Three Bears, even though she's the first one in the title. This talks about the bear's point of view. This one talks about from Goldilocks' point of view. So that's another way you can change this, and that's another way authors can change the story is from a different point of view. Okay, so again, you need to be thinking about what to change, and then why. More importantly, why do you want to change it? Okay, so that could look like something where if you're doing Three Billy Goes Gruff, or if you're doing Little Red Riding Hood, maybe you change it to the wolf's point of view versus the Little Red Riding Hood's point of view. Okay, so think about those things as you're making it. So you know the story, which is why we have it there. So know the story and then decide. So your first step is you're going to know the story. You should have read the story. Then decide on the change that you want to make, how you're going to improve that story. And then make that change lead to other change so the whole story fits together. Think about it like dominoes, right? You have one domino. You guys ever knocked down a row of dominoes? You have one domino, and then you set another domino beside it, and you set up 3, 4, 5, 10, 100, and one domino you push over, that kind of starts everything cascading. So you want to make sure that whatever you change, it leads to other changes so that the whole story will fit together. Okay, so don't just make one change and then something doesn't fit. You need to make sure that whatever you change, everything leads in order. Because if you go and you read these books, even though we go back and we read Goldilocks, and I don't know why it is doing that. Frustrating. Because I'm not going back. So like the Goldilocks, I'm sorry, the Brownie Locks and the Three Cornflakes. If you go and you read the story, and you can do that, you can go and you can read the story. Just type in Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and you can see how this story they changed everything, but or they didn't change everything. They changed a few things, and it went on, and it made sense. You can see it's very similar to Goldilocks, but here in a little bit, the bear runs away and they fix everything. And then the very next morning, they set out 4 bowls instead of 3 bowls. Now, they didn't do that in the original Goldilocks, right? And then they bring over a chair and the bear comes back. So you can see how they changed some things, and it looks like the bear, Brownie Locks, and Sam become friends and they get to know each other, it looks like. So that's something that you can definitely do to your books. Okay, so think about that. Whatever change you make sure that they're going to go through it. And like I said, this is just little steps. You will be writing your own very soon because you're going to be able to choose your own and do it very soon. But right now, I want you to focus on Three Billy Goes Gruff or Little Red Riding Hood. Okay, keep working. You're working great.